He cheated. Her doorstep confession changed everything. Alright folks, if you're the kind of person who loves stories that grab your heart, squeeze it till it aches, and then slowly, gently heal it with raw truth and a shot of hope. Stories packed with messy emotions, surprise twists, and lessons that hit you right in the gut, and buckle up, because this one's gonna stay with you long after the screen fades to black. Jake had always fixed things when his mind wouldn't quit spinning. Tonight, like every damn night for the last 9 months, he was out in the garage of their little Ohio bungalow, tinkering with that old lawnmower engine that didn't even need fixing. Wrench in hand, turning bolts slow and steady. 1 click, 2 clicks, it gave him something solid to hold on to, because the rest of his life had shattered into a million pieces he couldn't glue back together. The house sat too quiet around him, almost like the walls were holding their breath, mourning what used to be. Inside the kitchen, his mom Grace stood at the sink, rinsing the same plate over and over, her movements soft and deliberate, like she was afraid any loud noise might crack the fragile piece they built. Jake caught a glimpse of her through the doorway. She didn't look smaller in size, but man, her shoulders carried the weight of every sleepless night she'd spent worrying about her only son. Years of quiet strength, raising him after his dad passed, and now this. She was still holding it all together, without a single complaint. He wiped the grease off his hands on an old rag and stepped inside. If only fixing a broken heart was as simple as tightening a bolt. Mia had walked out 9 months ago. No screaming fight, no slammed doors, just a note on the kitchen table and the echo of her car pulling away into the night. He'd cheated. One stupid, drunken mistake at a crew party. After a long construction shift, he came clean the very next morning, thinking honesty might save them. Her eyes went hollow. She whispered she needed air, and then she was gone. Jake leaned against the counter now, watching Grace. She'd been his rock through it all. Late night coffees, silent hugs, never once saying I told you so. Without thinking, he crossed the room and wrapped his arms around her from behind. She froze for half a second, then leaned back into him, her damp hands resting on his forearms. For a long moment, neither of them spoke, just the hum of the fridge and the faint tick of the wall clock. Mom, he said, his voice low and rough around the edges. She turned the faucet off, and the sudden silence felt heavier than the running water ever had. Grace turned to face him, her eyes soft but tired, full of that mom love that sees every flaw and loves you anyway. You've been carrying this guilt like it's your whole world, honey, she whispered, but you don't have to do it alone. Then she reached into her apron pocket and pulled out a folded envelope, edges a little worn from being carried around. Mia dropped this off a few days after she left, asked me to hold on to it, said not to give it to you until you were really ready to listen. I think that day's here, Jake. His stomach dropped, heart pounding like a jackhammer. He took the letter, fingers shaking as he tore it open. The first line blurred. Jake, I left because your mistake broke something in me I didn't know could break. But before he could read another word, 3 sharp knocks echoed from the front door. Grace squeezed his shoulder, her eyes wide with quiet surprise. That's not the pizza guy, she said softly. Jake froze, letter still in his hand. He walked to the door like he was moving through molasses, every step heavier than the last. He turned the knob, and there she stood, hair a little longer, eyes red-rimmed but steady, suitcase at her feet like she'd driven straight through the night. Jake, she said, voice cracking just a little. I couldn't stay away anymore. I read every text you sent, every apology, and I realized running didn't fix anything either. I was scared, hurt, but I still love you. If you're ready to talk, really talk. No more secrets. I'm here. He stood there, letter trembling in his grip, the weight of 9 months of regret crashing over him like a wave. Grace hovered in the hallway behind him, giving them space, but close enough to catch him if he fell. For the first time in forever, Jake felt something shift. Not fixed yet, not by a long shot, but maybe, just maybe, starting to heal. Because sometimes the hardest fixes aren't the ones you do with your hands. They're the ones you face together, one honest word at a time. If you enjoyed this story, smash that like button, drop a comment below, and hit subscribe so you never miss a daily upload.